All right, guys. So I'm going to go over the exact trade setup and the type of system that I utilize week in, week out that essentially helped me make $13,000 on FTMO. Now, before I go ahead and go through that whole process, I'm going to show you guys the account metrics. This was the account right here. The start date was August 14th. I obviously got my payout, which I will show you guys this. It did start off in drawdown, and let me tell you guys this because this account is my swing account. So I was actually building up a position. I was exiting some positions, closing it out. So while I was down 5,600 bucks on closed, I actually had a few positions open. So I actually wasn't really down this much. But I was in drawdown on the trade, but it was a trade that I was holding for a few days. And then obviously started to push up and then took a few trades. And if you guys kind of look through the metrics, yeah, because each specific day ended in a positive, um, in positive P and L. And again, it was because I was holding positions. I would cut positions so I can add if price. Because the one thing about swing trading that I don't necessarily like, and I'll go into it in a different video, is when you're in these positions. Sometimes, like you'll see a buy setup in the New York Open, and you're like, okay, you know what, price might spike up, and then might hit my longer term objective. When I was seeing that, I'm like, you know what, let me cut some of these positions, and if anything, even if I take a few losses on that, I can add if price spikes up versus holding the drawdown. So again, that's a whole different thing, but yeah, this is kind of my swing account. So didn't really take that many trades. The lot sizes were a lot on this one specific day, but again, I was entering, exiting, reopening positions, things of that nature. And I'll go ahead and get into it all. And again, let me show you guys the full profit split. Again, this is my train, and this is my public Telegram. I put the link in the description below. So if you guys are interested in joining to get my weekly update, again, we called this great trade here on USD CAD, right here, ended up playing absolutely perfectly. So if you guys want these types of trade ideas, 100% for free, I post them in my public Telegram, as well as just different things. And here's my profit split right here with FTMO. Boom, right there. So again, if you guys are interested, make sure to go ahead and join the public Telegram. I'm putting it in the link in the description. All right, so now let's go ahead and get into it. So if you guys have been following me for a little while, and if you haven't, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I always am a big fan, and in terms of identifying key structural points in line with the higher time frame. So if I'm looking at the higher time frame and I believe that the bias should be bearish, for example, let's just say there's a liquidity pool, structure is bearish, price is respecting bearish reference points, I'm going to be looking for a lower time frame entry model in order to get in sync, in order to find specific entry points and then get in line with the higher time frame narrative slash bias. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to show you guys this quick illustration before we get into the exact trade example. So typically what I like to see is I like to see a very clean sweep and then price have a very strong impulsive move. Now, if you guys understand the basics of structure, if let's just say we have a bearish impulse, what I like to see is I want to see the lower high being met at some sort of imbalance point that's above the 62 on the retracement. So if we draw a Fibonacci from swing high to swing low, I like to see around the 62 to 70, some sort of imbalance point that I can frame a trade entry on. Now, some people will automatically enter on one impulse. Typically, if the market is extremely bearish, that's something I would do. But sometimes you can also wait for rejections and then look to get into the marketplace once we break down, start to show more imbalances on the backside of the move, and then re-enter on these. And I'll show you the exact example in the next in a few. But regardless, this was kind of the basic trade setup. Again, guys, it doesn't have to be this complicated. The complication is when people try to overthink it, when people try to just, they don't understand the higher time frame bias. That's when it can cause confusion. Nonetheless, I'm looking for this type of setup, and I'm looking for an imbalance, ideally a balanced price range where a bullish imbalance may have been overtaken by a bearish one. And then once price starts to break down and lower high is possibly confirmed, I'm looking for the backside of the move, potentially adding entries, etc. And I want to see a very clear prior low or discount, some sort of reference point to target. For me, it's always about objectives. I want to see a very clear objective in the marketplace that I know, hey, this has a high probability chance of targeting. And It's that simple. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you guys the exact trade example on Euro USD. And here is the exact trade example that I'm going to go ahead and utilize here. And I'm going to just show you guys from the higher time frame perspective. So on the higher time frame, on this, is it going to show me the... Okay, on the higher time frame, price had this initial surge up, and it looks like we were starting to have very significant bearish flow. On this specific leg, you see price rallying up, boom. You see a liquidity injection and drop. We also had these relative equal lows in here, and price failed to push off of this imbalance. And price failed to kind of push off of this imbalance. Notice how this imbalance, we had a significant push up, we had a liquidity raid, and then we had a very strong bearish close. So we were anticipating bearish prices down to this liquidity pool. So flow was bearish on the higher time frame. Now, how does it stack up with the time frames on the 1 hour, on the 4 hour? So on the 1 hour, we had, what do we have? We had liquidity injection above here. Price swept liquidity and had an impulse push down. This is where I started to scale some entries. When I got that first retracement, this was kind of like in London close. Wasn't in the best kill zone, but I just like the higher time frame, and this was the equal lows that we were referencing. So what do we have here? We have a bullish imbalance and we have a bearish imbalance. So this was the area that I marked out just in case price had a very significant run higher. Now notice how the bodies of the candle stay within the range. That's something that is a specific signature that ICT used to talk about, and I'm pretty sure he still does, where the bodies of the candles, they tell the story. Now, nonetheless, we have this area in here. So again, the impulse from impulse push high down to low. This is our structural swing. So now that I understand this is our structural swing, now I'm going to look to see, hey, inside of OTE, inside of that 62, where our specific level. So we obviously have this bearish order block. So this was one entry. Then as price moved up, and again, this was in a different time. This was during the London kill zone. This was then London close kill zone, and then this was around the New York Open. So when I woke up, and this is where I was like starting to cut positions, right? Like I shorted here. I tried to short a little bit here during this specific session. And in Asia, price started to push up, and when I started to see like, this might squeeze. This is when I started to close positions and realign my and give myself enough room to add if we push up here, right? Because I already had one entry there, one entry there. Now, adding is a very, very difficult skill, and I'm going to talk about it in a separate video if you guys are interested. But nonetheless, this is what I was looking for. And then when price started to come up here, taking some short positions there. This was a little bit unfortunate. I remember this because I'm like, you're holding these trades. However, once price kind of starts breaking down, now we start to see imbalances. Now we start to see another imbalance in here. So now these are specific reference points that if price hits those levels during kill zones, we can possibly get in on the backside of the move. Notice how price hits this imbalance. And then what we have here, another imbalance gets created. So now the flow is shifting to the bearish side. So that's typically what you want to see. And then obviously I was targeting this specific low because that's the last swing point from this impulse leg. And you're going to see price eventually. And I took profit pretty much there. I didn't hold it for the higher time frame level. I was holding the trade for a long time. We're going to show it and play it out. See, like that's the thing. I don't want to be stuck in these types of positions. And nonetheless, because again, price might hit the overall objective, but some people get so stuck. Like I'm going to hold this trade all the way to target. For me, I got the lower low. I was happy and good with the profit. Took it. And yeah, that was pretty much the biggest trade out of that specific account. Now I use this type of setup, these types of structural plays throughout my trading all the time. So it's something good that, I like to see throughout the week. And again, it's a repeating factor. So guys, make sure to go ahead and join the public Telegram. I do upload a lot of videos throughout the week, for more content, more trading related stuff. So yeah, and if you're new to the channel, go ahead, click that subscribe button. Also, leave a like on the video and comment your thoughts on structure, your thoughts on ICT concepts, and let me know what you guys think about the video in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.